With more returning to the office, demand for personal computers is likely to taper this year after a pandemic-induced boom. But it might not be all bad news. It could be a chance for PC makers to catch up with a backlog of orders amid the chip shortage.
Market intelligence firm IDC says while PC demand is set to ease, laptops and gaming models could be outliers. In fact, demand could grow as manufacturers try to game the chip shortage by prioritizing the more expensive business and gaming models.
In this upcoming year, we do expect supply to catch up to demand. In the case of gaming PCs, for instance, one of the big challenges is in graphics cards. Graphics cards in particular have been short on supply, particularly the higher end ones, the new ones that the likes of NVIDIA and AMD have been releasing.
Singapore custom PC maker Aftershock says it has seen demand surge up to fourfold since the pandemic. This even as the 10-year-old firm battles the chip crisis, which it calls the biggest and most challenging issue for the industry. Aftershock sources its chips from major brands like AMD, NVIDIA, Intel and Samsung, which have announced plans to increase their manufacturing capabilities.
I think the biggest task for us for the past 1.5 years was to secure supply. It went from us basically telling the suppliers, this is what we want to buy, to the suppliers telling us, this is what I have for you. We had to have a full-time team just dedicated to sourcing parts, basically. Non-stop talk to suppliers, make sure we're in touch, make sure we know what's coming. There's no visibility beyond a week.
Aftershock is confident the shortage will ease and sales to remain strong even as more return to the office. That's as it enjoys growing demand from gamers. Our market research firm forecasts the gaming market could reach $435 billion by 2028. And Aftershock hopes to better capture this group with the opening of a new experiential facility and service center as it upgrades its headquarters. It will allow users to try out various components when putting together their PCs.
One thing that the pandemic has accelerated is the way in which people purchase products. And the nature is that as the world starts to open up and as the people start to go out more, I think there will be a huge shift in the kind of experiences people want to see in basically how they buy things when they're not doing it online.
Such offerings could help smaller names like Aftershock drive growth in a market dominated by the major brands Lenovo, HP, Dell, Apple and Acer.
It will be interesting to see some of these smaller PC vendors. Could some of them become acquisition targets for some of these larger vendors for that matter, right? We've already seen Dell acquire Alienware. Granted, that was about 15 years ago, but Dell had acquired Alienware, which was also a small custom builder of gaming PCs that gave a lot more credibility to that Dell name amongst gamers.
Privately owned Aftershock says they've been approached multiple times and have spoken to investors, but aren't committing themselves to anything yet.